Yes, he's put in an awful lot of money into the football club, but he cares and loves this club. Right from the under-8s to the under-9s to the 10, this man cares and looks to improve year in, year out to give us the best opportunity. Berman, on behalf of myself, the players and all the supporters, thank you very much.
Abramovich's first window alone set a tone, with over 110 million spent on 11 players. Key arrivals like Claude Makelele, Damien Duff, Joe Cole, Crespo, Glenn Johnson. This is spending like we've never seen before, and it led on to the Jose Mourinho era. Hiring Mourinho after Porto's Champions League win was pivotal, and further spends. Didier Drogba, Carvalho, Essien. There were big names that succeeded in big flops like Shevchenko for 30 million and Fernando Torres from Liverpool. Abramovich's aggressive spending and frequent manager changes, 15 spells with 13 managers, and youth academy investment made Chelsea dominant. His era revolutionised the Premier League, inflating transfer fees and prompting UEFA's financial fair play rules.
He's rich and the rest are all jealous, so it's that simple.
Everybody at Chelsea is loving it.
Can't say anything bad about him at the moment, can we? Oh, I think he's brilliant. Love the Russians there.
Happy days.
One of his early signings recently spoke about his passion. He wanted to sign Zidane, Roberto Carlos, Ronaldo. He wanted to take over football, make it different.
So Abramovich was a friend?
Yeah, good friend.
You coming to the Premier League showed us all as fans from other clubs that, wow, Claude Makelele is coming to the Premier League.
If you came to Chelsea about a couple years earlier, boy, them VVS diamonds wouldn't be dancing like Michael Jackson. I'd need the diamond tester. I'll get the diamond tester out, boy. You get me? We know why. That's why he came to Chelsea. Show them the ring, my G. That's why he went to Chelsea, man.
Claude, I want to ask you this. Even although he paid you a lot of money, did you like Roman Abramovich?
I think I find him passion guy. He want bring all the best players in this team. Maybe one time we have conversation, you're thinking Ronaldo, you can't come, you're thinking Zidane, you can't come. I tell him, it's not like this football, you can bring all the players. I see that call my teammate, Roberto Carlos, I say, hey, you won't come because the boss, but I don't want to be in trouble, you know, because I live Real Madrid in trouble, but he's passion he wants everyone. He want everybody. He want to be successful for his project. He want to win trophy. He's dreaming all the time. Yeah, so everybody want to come in Chelsea after, because we see every player, big player fighting for coming in Chelsea, not just for money, for our opportunity, also for.
The players loved Abramovich, and of course they were earning big money for him, but he would do anything for them as well. The respect was there. In 2011, one of his players, John Obi Mikel's father, was abducted in Nigeria and held for about 10 to 12 days and released after police intervention. Mikel played for Chelsea shortly after learning of the kidnapping, and his father was found beaten and injured but alive. And during this period, John Obi Mikel, who played for Chelsea, said that Roman Abramovich offered to send men over to Nigeria to help track down his dad.
The good thing is that also back then Chelsea were very supportive. I must say that Chelsea were very supportive. I remember Roman saying, do you want me to send people over? Because I know if I send people over, I can get your dad out. I was like, how are you going to do this? Like, don't worry about that. Just let me, if you want that option, I can do it.
Things come crashing down in February 2022. After Russia invaded Ukraine, the UK government faced pressure to sanction Russian oligarchs that was seen close to Vladimir Putin. Abramovich, who had stakes in a steel company which supplied materials potentially used by the Russian military and long-standing ties to people in government, means he was targeted. Amid the scrutiny, Abramovich announced he was putting Chelsea up for sale, stating proceeds would go to a new foundation of all victims of the war in Ukraine.
I think it's disgusting what's happened to him. I really do.
Did you have a great relationship with him?
Incredible.
Yeah, this guy used to get the yachts. He used to borrow yachts to go on holidays.
Only for the skipper?
Only him, yeah. Only the skipper.
Only for me and Lamps. Only happened one season. Though.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, I think everyone had a really good relationship with him. I have to say, one of the nicest person you can ever meet in your life. In terms of giving us the best foundation, when he first walked into Harlem, so anyone who's been a fan for many years would know the old training ground Harlem was an absolute shithole. And he come in, he was like, no, we're not training here. And very shortly after that, we brought Cobham, and he turned it into what it is today, giving us opportunities like that to perform on the best pitches, the best facilities, the best staff, improvements on the stadium, all of that. He was invested in you guys as well. The amount of conversations he would come to us and go, we're paying for the travel, for the supporters to travel to Bolton this weekend because it's after a Champions League game, etc., etc.
Yeah.
That happened quite a bit under Roman. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he was invested in that. That wasn't someone telling him that. He wanted to know, it's Tuesday night away, how are the fans getting back from here and all of this. He was invested in that. So one of the nicest people you could ever meet in your life. I think it's disgusting what's happened to him. I really do. I think as a UK government, we should be embarrassed by our actions towards him. What he done during lockdown and what he done for the NHS was sensational. Opened up Stamford Bridge to all the nurses and give people homes during that difficult time. He was just a lovely, lovely man who loved our football club and thankfully turned away from one other football club and made the right decision and come away.
Roman Abramovich and Vladimir Putin, reports indicate they've had a long-standing, close professional and political relationship dating back to the late 1990s, early 2000s, characterized by privileged access, mutual benefits, and proximity to power. Abramovich has repeatedly denied being close to Putin or having any special financial ties.
Roman Abramovich is the owner of Chelsea Football Club and various other high-value assets in the United Kingdom. He's a person of interest to the Home Office because of his links to the Russian state and his public association with corrupt activity and practices. Last week, the Prime Minister said that Abramovich is facing sanctions. He later corrected the record to say that he isn't. Well, why on earth isn't he?
The UK government sanctioned Abramovich, freezing his assets, including Chelsea, and imposing a travel ban. This halted the sale process and temporarily placed the club under severe restrictions. No new tickets, no transfers, and limited spending. The Premier League disqualified Abramovich as a director, effectively stripping him of control. The government issued a special licence allowing Chelsea to continue playing matches and paying staff, but the club was in limbo, operated under a restricted basis to avoid collapsing completely. And the manager Thomas Tuchel had flipped out when they tried to drag him into the situation regarding the owner.
But you have to stop asking me these questions. I have no answers for you.
Just on how passionately you spoke a moment ago about the horrors of war, how much do you hope that the owner is using any...
No, listen, you have to stop. I'm not a politician. You have to stop, honestly. I can only repeat it. And I even feel bad to repeat it because I never experienced war. So even to talk about it, I feel bad because I'm very privileged. I sit here in peace and I do the best I can, but you have to stop asking me these questions. I have no answers for you.
To try and resolve the crisis, the UK granted a special licence for the sale on the condition that Abramovich received no personal benefit. The club was sold for $4.25 billion to Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Capital. The deal was closed on the 30th of May 2022, one of the fastest and most scrutinised sports transactions ever. Stamford Bridge, Chelsea's iconic home, was passed on to new owners.
It's a different model to the Abramovich years. That's what people have to remember. Under Roman, it was simple. It was like, right, we're trying to win every trophy, so we want to spend the most money, buy the best players. Everyone knew what they were going to do. It was quite easy, and these new owners have come in with more of a business mind on it, and they're trying to sort of and the financial regulations have come in, you know, which means you have to be a bit, you know, you have to be a bit tricky with the ingoings and the outgoings, and you trade it. It's like, it's not as pure as like we're just trying to build a team. They're revenue streams that have to come in, so there's a lot of ingoings and outgoings. And all in that time, you got Enzo Maresca. His job is to try and, whatever it comes through his door, to try and mould that into a team that can achieve the goals that you need to achieve.
The net proceeds were frozen in a UK bank account. Abramovich pledged them to humanitarian aid to war victims, but a standoff emerged. The UK government funds must go exclusively to humanitarian causes in Ukraine. Abramovich broader aid for all victims, potentially including those in Russia or elsewhere. On the 17th of December 2025, the UK issued an ultimatum. Abramovich has 90 days to agree to transfer the money to the new Foundation for Ukraine Aid or face court action. The Prime Minister Keir Starmer publicly stated, pay up now or face the call, and the funds remain frozen with no resolution yet. Legal battles are ongoing.
I can announce that we're issuing a licence to transfer £2.5 billion from the sale of Chelsea Football Club. That's been frozen, those funds, since 2022. My message to Abramovich is this: the clock is ticking. Honour the commitment that you made and pay up now. And if you don't, we're prepared to go to court so every penny reaches those whose lives have been torn apart by Putin's illegal war.
The plan from the US, EU and UK was to target wealthy Russian business tycoons with close ties to the government to pressure President Vladimir Putin by freezing their assets, imposing travel bans and restricting access to global finance. The goal was to erode their wealth.
Lawyers for the Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich say that sanctions imposed on him by the European Union are baseless. Appearing at the European Court of Justice, lawyers for Abramovich argued that the charges against him were imposed simply because he's a famous Russian businessman. The former owner of Chelsea Football Club was sanctioned by both the EU and the UK due to his close ties with the Russian president.
However, the impacts have been mixed. Initial sharp losses in 2022 gave way to significant recovery by 2025, driven by the Russian war economy and opportunities existing in foreign companies. While some oligarchs faced personal hardships like forced asset sales, most just remained loyal to Putin. As of 2025, the Russian billionaire count hit 146, with collective wealth at 625 billion, up 8% from the prior year and surpassing pre-war level. Overall, Roman actually lost money by buying Chelsea in the first place. Of course, he bought the club for 140 million, he injected 1 to 1.5 billion, and the club still ran losses exceeding 700 to 900 million. And obviously, Chelsea sold for a fee that would have been a massive profit overall and he would have got his money back, but due to these restrictions, he wasn't able to. He also lost UK real estate, a 15-bedroom mansion, other residents and investments that he made in the UK. His French properties in 2022, they were seized, 12 luxury properties. Even super yachts that he owned were seized that were left in the EU jurisdictions, and private jets, at least one Gulfstream, remains frozen under sanctions right now.
Do you know, ex-owner of Chelsea, Abramovich, lost his club to the UK government? But here's how he managed to save his $1 billion super yacht. This is some James Bond scenario. In 2022, sanctions hit. But guess what? His two super yachts, Eclipse and Solaris, were already on the move. Now here's his strategy. Step 1, he sailed both of them to Turkey, the country that didn't enforce EU or US sanctions. No U-port, no problem. But then he sold them, but only on paper. They were registered under a British company offshore in Virgin Island and Cyprus. So they were legally untouchable. You cannot take them from me because they're not mine. Number 3, he turned off all his tracking systems, the AIS system. So they went off grid for weeks. So authorities still managed to track them and they tried to intercept them in the Mediterranean. But every time they announced inspection, the yacht's already on the move. So he's actually always one step ahead. They were docked in Bodrum, Marmaris. I personally saw that myself. And they kept moving around the Turkish waters. Every time they were about to be confiscated, they were gone. And he's still chilling on them, because technically they're not his. This is why billionaires, Habibi, stay billionaires.
I don't know where the trophy is, but I will bring it to you because